Welcome to Wide World of News. I'm Mark Halpern. We're talking today about some good news, but also some frustration. One of the really encouraging things I found during this pandemic is a lot of Americans are taking their talents and applying them to try to solve problems in their local communities, in their states, and nationally. The frustration that comes with that, though, is sometimes people are having great ideas and they're not getting the attention they deserve. They're not being implemented in a way that could actually help. We're talking today with two gentlemen who have developed an extraordinary product which is being underused. Part of the purpose of today's discussion is to try to encourage any of the viewers watching us now to think about adopting this platform for your own company, your own government, your own organization. The good news about this platform, it's absolutely free and it absolutely protects the privacy of those using it. This is a platform for something that America has fallen way behind on in tracing and tracking and trying to understand how prevalent the community spread is in any individual community. This is, again, an anonymous system, but one that will allow you to collect a lot of important data which currently isn't being collected. Our guests are David Waldrop. He's the founder and CEO of ICG. His colleague, Louis Lyons, is the COO of the company. And also joining us is one of the few people in America smart enough to adapt this platform, the mayor of Purcellville, Virginia, Kwasi Frazier. His town is about an hour northwest of Washington, D.C. Gentlemen, thank you all for joining us.
For having us.
Okay. I want to start with you, David. You have been trying to get my attention for a while, and I'm a good metaphor for the frustration that you feel. You and your colleagues were sitting around with not much to do after the virus hit, and you decided you would try to help. Explain to people the nature of the product that you've created, which is called doihaveit.net.
And that's right, Mark. We were watching what was going on and trying to figure out how a bunch of, kind of fairly high-end software developers who build analytics platforms for a living for our government could do something, not go stir crazy as COVID was setting in. So we came up with this idea of watching, the CDC produce data that was 3 or 4 days old, and it was kind of secondhand data. And we wondered if there wasn't a better way to really figure out what was going on by collecting primary data from the people who have the sniffles and the headaches and whatnot, and then making that available to the organizations that need it. Organizations like the mayor in Purcellville, who came, when we encountered each other, his story was that I'm stuck in a reactive position. All they can tell me is what happened yesterday. I need to know what's going to happen next week. And that was the problem we ended up solving with this technology. And this idea is what it is.
Right. So Louis, you all do real-time data analytics. As David said, you have government contracts. You produce a product that allows people to sift through a lot of data. Explain how this product works if you're an organization, a local government, whatever it is. Explain how it works, how it functions for an entity that allows it to get the kind of big data that they need.
Sure, Mark. Well, so our platform specializes in its day job for real-time streaming data analytics. So we specialize in our government work in taking multiple streams of live data and making use of that data, finding insight while it's streaming in front of us, if you will, and making that information available to analysts to do that directly without having to bother with software engineers and development cycles. In the Do I Have It model, what we found pretty early on was that people are looking at bits and pieces of data as points, right? Points of data, and they're not connecting those points. And what our technology does, our engine behind Do I Have It, is it connects those dots for people who really need to understand the full picture. So what we like to say is, use all of the information that's available to you to make better decisions faster. And that's really what Do I Have It is specializing in with the fight against COVID.
Mr. Mayor, your town is about 10,000 people, as I said, about an hour from Washington, D.C. Explain the challenge that you have in being the mayor of your town and how this platform can help you deal with the pandemic.
Great, thank you, Mark. So 2 challenges. The data that we need to make decisions used to come to us after the fact, right? So we have been in this reactive mode. And secondary, we have had data on a national level and a state level. This social engagement allows us to get data at a localized level so we can know exactly the pulse of our people within the town of Purcellville, not looking at Loudoun County as an overall area or the state. So this data makes it localized and makes it meaningful in that we don't have to be in a reactive mode. We're getting the data real time.
So it's basically crowdsourcing to get information that you need to make decisions. How have you tried to encourage your constituents to participate by entering, again, anonymously entering their data, and how's that process going?
Okay, so it was adopted via town council decision, and then we issue a press release to our constituents, so they were able to understand exactly where to go to get that data. In addition, we put a code onto our website for folks that are going onto our website could then link away to start this anonymous process.
And how long has your town been using it?
So it's going on, what, 2 months now?
And what would you say to other mayors and heads of big corporations with lots of employees? What would you tell them about whether they should adopt this platform or not?
Okay, so I go back to if you cannot measure it, you cannot improve it. And you need to have the pulse of your people. So fellow mayors, this is another tool that we can use to basically get the pulse of our people and get them engaged so we'll know what's going on in the community, the health of the community.
We've talked about the fact that there are other people trying to make platforms like this, mobile apps and other platforms, including Google and Apple. What would you say is special or distinctive or good about the platform you've developed as compared to some of the other things either already out there or already in development now?
I think there's two core aspects about what we did. It's the underlying motivation was to, make it available to the very hyper-local response organizations. The local suburban hospital where I live needs to be able to kind of know, not that there's 2 people in their emergency room right now, but there's a growing swell of COVID outbreak in the community that's going to be headed their way in the next week. So it was intention is one of the things. And the second thing is, I think you're starting to see it with the contact tracing with the big Apples and Googles and all that. I mean, they're fundamentally in the business of selling, kind of eyeballs to many people. We're not in a business to do that. We're really trying to impact these local response organizations. And Mark, we see a shift a little bit as well away from the symptomatic detection of is there COVID in the workplace with, kind of questions popping up, and we're able to change these questions very quickly, which is something we haven't really spoken about. And there's a pivot to, well, how do we open up, and under what conditions do we open up, and what are the aspects of opening up our economy or society or whatever you want to call it again. It's a big push in that direction is what we're seeing.
So again, it could be used not just by a town or state, but it can be used by a giant workplace, a manufacturing place that wants to figure out how to get its employees back working safely, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, Louis, if I understand it right, you're a former journalist, so I want you to use your journalistic abilities to explain to me if you've got a product built by experts to do real-time data analytics on arguably the most important set of data required in modern American history, and the price is right, it's free, why aren't more people using your platform?
Well, I think the question's embedded, the answer is embedded in the question, right? We need people to know about it. We struggle as a very small business that's still, like so many other small businesses, battling to survive, to try to get our message out. So platforms and a forum like this is extremely effective for us to do that. And we hope that, little by little, as David points out, we're pivoting to look forward. The symptomatic piece is important. It may still have relevance and be a factor, but going forward, again, speaking to the power of our technology, you can take all sorts of different kinds of data and braid it together and get a full operating picture of what you have at hand. So imagine you're a college campus, for example, sitting in a city, and you need to understand whether you can reopen or not. Using our technology and all of the data gathering and analytics in real time, and a combination of real-time data and slightly static data, putting that all together into one picture is incredibly important. We just need to get the word out. That's really our struggle at this point. We're not Google, we're not Apple. That's an
Right.
advantage, and sometimes it's a disadvantage.
Right. Mayor Frazier, I'm sure you found the price to be very pleasing that you were being given this platform for free. How difficult has it been for your town, which obviously doesn't have a huge government in terms of personnel? How difficult has it been for you to be able to learn how to use it and to use it effectively?
Yeah, it's very easy to use it. And again, it's just that visibility, getting people to know that it's out there. It's not very onerous to go in and look. You're not looking at 20 plus questions. It's very easy, it's intuitive. Again, the challenge is just to promote it. And we've been trying to promote it. And hopefully from this video, we'll have more folks subscribing to it.
That's my hope too. Again, if you're watching now and you run a big organization or you're trying to help a big organization get their arms around what your population's problems are, how big the problem is over time, and to analyze the data to give you a chance to make the kind of decisions that the mayor has to make and lots of business leaders have to make, I'd urge you to use this platform. David, if someone's watching this and wants to use the platform, what do they need to do?
They need to send us an email at info@icgsolutions.com, and we'll respond probably immediately.
And if someone sends you that email and says, yes, I'm interested, walk me through the process of how they get up and running.
We're going to send them a link and talk to them about how to engage it and how to request access to the analytics side of the equation so they can get in and see the results as they come in.
So from the time they email you to the time they're getting real-time data, how long would that be?
As soon as they can get their constituents entering the data.
Right.
Almost immediately.
And that's their responsibility, right? You have no special insight into how to get consumers, constituents, employees to start to fill in the questionnaire, right?
Absolutely. We do not have that magic just yet. We're working on it though.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, last question for you is how is your town doing? How are your constituents doing in grappling with the pandemic? How much has it affected your town and its economy and public health?
Yeah, it's a huge impact on our economy, but the folks in Purcellville, especially our businesses, they have come together and they're very resilient, and they were very helpful in helping other folks in need. Like we identify, first off, when this happened, we identified those in the age bracket of 60 to 100, and we were able to go out and make sure that they are fed, they're protected. And so the community has come together to help us through this, and that's what's going to take us. Come Friday, we're going to start phase 1 of reopening the town of Purcellville, and that will start with outdoor dining. So I invite folks to come out and start supporting our local businesses.
Okay, Mayor Kwasi Frazier of Purcellville, Virginia. We urge all the people who are the mayor's constituents to go on to doihaveit.net to help provide the data that's required for the mayor to help and his colleagues to help govern the city, the town as well as possible. And David Waldrop and Louis Lyons of ICG, thank you for volunteering your time to do this. Thank you for thinking hard and using your expertise. And I hope the platform is put to wider and better use than it has been so far, because it's exactly what most organizations in this country still lack, which is the kind of real-time data that's required to, as the mayor's now doing, make decisions on an informed basis. So thank all three of you for joining us.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you all for watching. I'm Mark Halpern. We'll be back with another interview with Wide World of News. Same bad time, same bad channel. See you soon.